Fire now it's closing in. Nothing to bear and nothing to win. Nothing to win. Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Step in the fire, take my hand. I'll take you higher than you've ever been. Than you've ever been.
Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Let's go right into the charts. Bada bing, bada boom, we go. And yeah, it looks like we did get that little bit of bounceroo off the one level of the trend-based bearish fib extension tool. And are we making our way back up to the 0.5 equilibrium of this diagonal pitch fan to the upside? Let's go into the heat map. And what is the heat map? Well, it's when people lock their liquidity in the charts to be burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. And we get to see where those stop losses are, or those liquidation points are rather, and see who got burnt to a crisp. So let's see who got burnt to a crisp since last we spoke less than 12 hours ago. So we did talk about these pools of 100x, and we said how they come back to them without hesitation, and by G golly my, they did come back to those 100x pools without hesitation.
Fatality.
And they just come back and eat them up without thinking twice. And so if you're a 100x player, you're not going to stay in the game for long, so you have to pay yourself quickly and reassess the situation. So as it looks like there is another 50x pool of 141 up here at 27 even, and another one at 27,149. So are they going to come back to these guys? As it stands currently with the price as it is currently there, it seems more likely they'll come back to this than not. Although if they whack in price and spawn some more bubbles to enter, you will see which side is more enticing for them to grab as they create more stacked liquidity. As it stands on this 1 minute time frame, which is 6 days of data, which we have lost a lot to Father Time. If you follow us each and every day, you would know that there's a lot more up above here which was lost to Father Time. So we could come up to these 27.54 pool based off of how much has been stacked over time, which is lost, and we'll get into that as we expand our vision to the higher time frame. But as it stands on this 1 minute time frame, there is a large pool down below here at 26.29, which we have yet to take. So let's go and expand our vision to the higher time frames. And as we saw 12 hours ago, the 12-hour the upside was the imbalance to 27,850 on this 7-day time frame. However, if we expand to the monthly, we also see that the path to the upside is also potentially the target for this 1 month time frame. As you see on the 30,000 level, there is about $40 billion rather, up at the 30,000 level, all double digits leading to that path as well. More conservatively speaking, on this 27.8 region, 27.8 region, you have $16 billion just chilling there on this time frame to take, which we have yet we haven't visited since May 15th. So do we head up to this region before we come back down to the higher time frame pools as we expand our vision to see the 3 and 6 and 1 year pools? We're going a little bit faster because we already gave an update earlier this morning. So if you're not following exactly, you can watch the 12-hour before pool breakdown. And basically we were saying the same thing. These pools don't change so instantly. So as it looks on the 3-month time frame, you have a $150 billion down here at 25.2 and above to 25.6. Between that $600 price range, you have $150 billion waiting to be grabbed, which coincides nicely with our bearish trend-based fib extension level and 41 days of long liquidity that was consolidating in this range. So are they going to come back and knock out the longs before they go up, or are they going to go up from here? More likely than not, they come up to take out some of the sell side, the buy side liquidity up here to come down to the sell side. Then they go up higher like that. But I don't like to project a path I like to take it day by day, so we don't like to project paths with that. But sometimes it does come to be accurate as can be. So we're going to take a look at the 6 month, and the 6 month also coincides with that large pool down below on the external liquidity pool range. Shout out to everyone here. Good morning, Wendy, CC Ireland, Dingo, how's it going? Low Mips. So let's go into the charts. Okay, so if we look down here, the path to the downside is all the way down to 22.5 with caked up liquidity nicely to that region. Are they going to eat down into this liquidity in the days coming forward? Only time will tell, but as it stands currently, there is that imbalance to the downside, which we are currently gobbling up slowly but surely. But the path to the upside is also starting to be paved nicely, as we saw on the yearly time frame. So we have to go to the yearly time frame to see how that imbalance is forming. and that imbalance to the upside starts at 32.4 with $127 billion and $102 billion at 32.8 and $100 billion at 33.2. So this entire region starting to look nice and juicy for a short squeeze. And you're seeing 78 billion at 33.6 and 82 billion at 34 even. So are they starting to induce the shorts to convict them into a lower price while they go down, to only immediately surge it back up in similar fashion to the Silicon Valley Bank cash grab that they did after that 618 bounce here and taking out the longs before they surged it? Here they had a noticeable difference in the liquidity. They only had 95 billion in longs as opposed to the 178 billion in shorts, so it made sense they came up with this fervor. However, you do need to gap up from these regions without liquidity there, so that's, if it were to gap up, it would likely gap up to 30k if it did that and go right straight through that when they had their fill. So whenever they have their fill here, you can expect a similar bounce of great proportions through that liquidity on those time frames. So this is the interesting to note, as the yearly starts to show an equivalent amount above as there are below. So have we had our fill already, or are we going to go get that 107 billion at 24.8 and that 25.2 region? That is the question on everyone's mind as we go forward in time. Let's go into the 1 month and start to head back into the charts to see what has happened over the last 12 hours. Let's just turn on my So we were stopping around here last time and we saw this path to the upside ensue. It's in the past though, so we should just delete this and start over. So let's just do that. We'll leave this cloud idea intact while we turn up our heads up display here. Boom. By the way, consider liking and subscribing if you have not already. It does help out the channel ever so slight as we go into our indicators. Now, what are our indicators? Well, you can go to the link in the description, type in momentummaster.info, scroll down to the features and turn them on to see them in their glory at Bitcoin's local bottom before we knew it was the bottom, or see each component as we go over them. So here we're going to go over where that cloud was we were talking about. I believe it was on the 6 hour. So let's go straight to the 6 hour and see how the 6 hour is doing. So we had that weird anomaly of the 6 hour thinning out and now turning purple again. And we went over 12 hours ago instances of where that has occurred, where it stayed a certain color and then flipped back to the other color, because normally it goes blue to purple and stays in that flipping. So the thinning is what you need to look for your bearish retest to come down or your bullish retest to go up. So very rarely does it go purple to blue again. So those type of reclamation of the cloud and thinning was where you would have seen this occur, and it has happened here where we had this purple to turn blue again and continued to the upside. So there's a few cases where it turns purple to turn blue again, or blue to purple again immediately. So are we going to see this weird shift of the cloud? It's a unusual thing here, that is an anomaly that I have not seen play out in any way, shape, or form just yet. Now let's go to the daily time frame and see how our cloud and all the stuff is looking on that. We did go over the cross up event potential of this baseline. What are the baselines? Well, you go down, it's your first sign of reversal, and we can see that here as it holds these baselines. The thin boy is currently still holding, and the fat boy as well. And we're starting to see this curvature of the cloud on the daily time frame, which is interesting to note. Are you starting to see the shift in the narrative as this similar shift curvature noted that we would be coming down. Okay. As we look at that, let's turn on B and see where that's going. We already talked about the juxtaposition of the daily time frame versus the weekly, the 3-day and the 5-day. If you want to see that breakdown, you can go back to the earlier stream this morning, but we went over how the weekly and the 3-day and the 5-day coincide with the daily to stave off potentially more dumpage, and we're going to see how that works. So the 12 hour is currently coming down nicely, and we had a previous candle close which brought this at nicely rounded about at the 50 level of the stochastic RSI. And if we look at our leading MACD formula, we were previously looking to cross down, but we are now open, even Steven, to not necessarily cross down just yet. And the Williams is opening up still nicely to the upside. So are we going to see this round out on the 50 here and see another surge for a double top scenario? That is the question of the 12 hour here. We are seeing the baselines cross up and hold nicely above the candles, beneath the candles, and it's trying to reclaim the skinny boy of the baselines. If we make our way down to the 6 hour time frame, 6 hours resetting quite nicely on the stochastic RSI. We are starting to see the baselines curving up here, the leading MACD starting to curve up here, has yet to cross up, but the curvature is looking good. It is currently in the domain of the stochastic RSI, and the Williams is in an ambiguous point, which is not yet oversold or overbought, just chilling in the middle. If we go to the 4 hour time frame, we see that the MACD is looking to potentially cross up, not just yet though, and the Williams also ambiguously staying in the middle. The 4 hour is starting to give a reset bounce idea, with this 4 hour and 6 hour and 12 hour potentially in your favor now. We skipped the 22, so let's go back to the 22 and see how that is looking. So the 22 hour time frame had reset in this manner. We were talking about it potentially coming down some more, seeing how the candle closes with that because of the money flow being above the RSI here, but the money flow is coming back quite nicely, or the RSI coming up to meet it maybe around the equilibrium of 47. So it's going to maybe cross up here, and it looks like it's getting a potential bounce off of the average here on the leading MACD formula, so it has yet to cross down, with the Williams opening up nicely, so you could be staved off from more dumpage and rounding out here. In similar fashion, we did that here in May 2nd and saw upside from that point. From here. So there are points where it does bounce from that level. So this level of the 23 zone value could see the upside bounce for the 22 hour time frame. It does not need to reset completely. Now, if we go back to the hourly time frame, the hourly time frame is currently overbought. So we are starting to see how that hourly will contend with the 4 hour play, and will it burst through this thick cloud or not. Okay, so if it gets the rejection off the cloud similar to this area here, you can expect it to break down at the cloud and come down with a fury to the downside. We were overbought previously here on Wednesday, May 17th, and we tried to reclaim the cloud and immediately failed beneath it. So when we failed beneath it and we bearishly retest the thick purple cloud, and you even had a second attempt to reclaim it and did not, this would have been your short idea to the downside, and you could have taken that hourly reset to the downside. I think in this case there was also some other time frames at work, so let's go ahead and go back to here and just see where other time frames were coinciding with that. The 4 hour is also resetting in a manner here, and you are also seeing the 6 hour was coming down as well. it was at a higher value than it is currently. The 12-hour was overbought, so you were contending against the 12-hour. So it was a 12-hour dump plus the 1 hour. So the 1 hour kind of dumped on you with that potential. Okay, so let's go back to the hourly really quick. So can the hourly push above the cloud here even though it is thick? Normally you see rejections on thick clouds like this, and where does it reject to? Well, you can do local fibs. Everything is fractal in nature, so you can pull like a fib from wick to wick here. So if we move this to the wick here, and if you look, if it does get rejected off the cloud, then it would come down to the 618, potentially bounce off that for your double bottom potential, and you try to see if that coincides with a fair value gap based off this hourly time frame. It looks like you do have one from here to here, so you do have a fair value gap in that region. If we go to the 15-minute, we can consolidate out the wicks and see if there's anything that was not traded fairly. There is one more potentially here. All right, so this is what you see as you juxtapose the time frame. So if you were in this long from this morning and you were considering paying yourself on the cross down event, you would have been correct. Cross up to cross down, and this would have had you at hello for the scalp. You could have ridden this for a smooth percent to the upside, since we streamed this morning with the cross up event potential all the way to the cross down event below. So we're currently seeing this kiss to the cloud as we normally do. You pierce through the cloud and then you come back and you kiss it. And then if you find strength on that kiss and hold it, then that could also be a potential long based off of fair value gap recoveries and all that super trend, stop loss hunting, and candle close holding above this level. So this is dynamic support and resistance that is inbuilt to the indicator suite. When you start to break this super trend, it starts to shift to the other side. This is why we call it the super trend shift. It doesn't give you buy or sell signals. It just tells you what percent you need to fail in order for this trend to be over. So if you go beneath this level, then you can consider this to be over on this scalping time frame. So this would have had you, as this held this cloud, you would have been able to see that there could have been more in store because it broke this trend. So if you were scalping this to this level, you could have put your stops into profit and monitored whether we broke this or not, and we did. And that is how you would see that. Normally when you make a dump to the downside, you see something more like a double top before you come down. So this is normally what you would see is like the power of threes. So if you consider this one, and here is two, then you'd be looking for a third hit of some kind if we are going to fail here. And then would you see that to the downside for a other level bounce? As it stands right now, the 15 minute is still, the cloud appears to be strong in the momentum, although it is starting to curve at an angle here, which could suggest fatigue. So this is why these angles kind of give suggestions to narrative shifts. You can see this angle here prior was kind of curving in this manner, suggesting that there was a potential upside event. So this is what we were looking at for the volume weighted cloud on the 6 hour time frame, which is currently this curve that's superseding everything here. Okay, so as you see this cross down event occur, as you see this thin boy scooping up the price here, this is how you would monitor a potential cross up event occur. And then that, if you were more risky into riskier plays than I, then you could potentially take that to a bounce level for a fatigue point. We're currently seeing New York going to pass the ball for New York Open in an hour, and London will close an hour from then. So in 2 hours from now, you'll see most likely the baton pass from London to New York, and you'll see the move which is going to occur, which will be a furious one, maybe down to here, and then give the impression, because it is false move Monday, is this false move going to be a fake out to the downside to see a bounce here? Is this a shoulder, head, and possible shoulder in advance that you're going to see? Are you going to see this build up to here and see 3 hits to the high, and then from that point break down into the 618 bounce potential? Just a thought. And yeah, we'll remove that from here, make it simple, and then go to the hourly also getting spent here. So you're going to see the 15-minute play out. So the 15-minute will do its thing, and then based off of that, you'll see it fatigue, and then the hourly plays down with the 15 and see how that holds or doesn't hold. If it doesn't hold, then your potential long idea could be here, but if it does not hold that level, then it could come down to the higher time frame zones. Now you have the 4 hour, the 6, and the 12 coming in your favor with the 22. So how does the hourly reset here is the big question. Okay, we already did a market update on ES and NAS for a little bit, and I've been looking at NAS all day, so I'm kind of NAS'd out from doing it on a stream, but I will be doing it in the Discord to look at potential setups for anyone who is in the Momentum Master Discord. So this thick cloud on the hourly is what has me worried. If you're going to go up above that, you would see this pierce and break down. Now, the one thing that is promising is this angle here is kind of looking nice. So if you see this, it is setting up for some sort of thinning at some point, maybe Tuesday morning. And so we were pretty accurate with those thinning points before, even though we didn't get the reclamation kiss. It was a reclamation failure kiss and breakup. The thinning point we had was accurate on that time frame. So are we going to get a thinning out at some stage tomorrow? So these kind of thinnings, these meanderings of the cloud are not to be ignored, because they do imply upside and downside in advance. If you see the angle here, for example, and so if you see the angle here, are you seeing a potential upside shift? Okay, so this is the one anomaly that is befuddling me at the moment, is this weird twist in the cloud on the 6 hour time frame. Interesting to note. I'll take a few questions and see what's going on with you guys. And this 12 hour time frame has yet starting to curve ever so slightly, but it had this drop down, which doesn't give me any, and it thickened up a little bit. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. Good morning, good morning. All right, 5 concurrent viewers. Thank you for stopping on in. So once again, we'll recap real quick, and we'll look at the liquidity as we do and give you that narrative to juxtapose with the liquidity. So the 1 hour is getting overbought here for BTC, and the cloud is quite thick on the hourly, so we would see the 15-minute potentially play itself out and stab the cloud. Now, how far does it stab? Now, if you have a huge 15-minute run up here and it does an amazing thing to take out the liquidity here, then you could have something entirely different from what we have here. Now, generally you would have the failure at the thick cloud of this nature, and then that breaks down to a certain level, and that's why we have this 618 fib retracement level here for a potential golden pocket bounce out of there at that point. And then you'd have a shoulder, head, and a shoulder to get out of here, potentially speaking. Now, doesn't mean we can't get out of clouds like that as we did here in terms of thickness and bursting through them. So, but there are times where we break down at them. So this is what you would be looking at if we broke down at this purple thick cloud. It's much thicker than it was here, so the chances of it breaking down are similar fashion to here. We couldn't reclaim. It got thinner here, and then that's when you started to see the reclamation. Okay, so you look for the thinning to reclaim it, and are we going to pierce through? So you already missed your 15-minute entry. If you had the Momentum Master Suite, you would have gotten dynamic alerts to your phone down here, and you would have seen the cross up event if you had set it to whatever time frame. In this case, the 15, you could have gotten a cross up event. How do you set those alerts? Well, we'll go into Momentum Master A and show you how to do that. And you can add alert for Momentum Master A, and you could say, tell me about any cross or baseline crossover or cross under, and it will let you know every time on this time frame. So you would have gotten an alert here. You could have found your nice entry into there and then let you know when it crossed down and got out. There are people that are funded within the Discord using just this strategy alongside other volume-based strategies as well. So if you're on the fence, you could give it a try and see how it works. All right. Well, guys, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. You're waiting for the 15 to fatigue out in some fashion, whether that's going to be in a massive surge or not. Does it come up to this level and then come back to kiss the cloud at that time over here? More likely than not, based on the hourly cloud that we just went over, you get that rejection off the hourly here. Although it's not the hourly play you're looking to see. You're looking to see the 4-hour play, which is still good to go. So the 4-hour is still good, but the cloud is relatively thick as well. So you'd need to see how it staves off the hourly when the hourly resets here. All right, ladies and gents, I hope that suited your fancy, and I will see you in the Discord. I'm going to get ready for the New York Open, so I will catch you on the flip side. So here we go. Thank you for coming on Insta Live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, and all that fun stuff, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.